Okay. Of course, I have to promote the League of Women Voters. That's a big part of why we're here. Just to tell you a little bit about us. From the spirit of the suffrage movement is how the League of Women Voters got started after women got the vote in 1920. It started as a way to educate women on voting and the entire voting process, and here we are over 100 years later. And it's no longer just for women. Men are welcome, everyone is welcome, so if you would like to become a member for the League of Women Voters, we have forms that you can fill out, and I will be happy to take your dues. Insert laugh. Good job. Okay. So the League of Women Voters here in Dalton, we focus our efforts on voter registration and education. This, of course, takes money to do, which is why we're holding a raffle here tonight. And as you all know, I've told you about our auction that had to get canceled because of the hurricane. You know, it is what it is, roll with the punches. So again, if you would like to buy a ticket for the raffle, they are $2 each, or 6 tickets for $10. And we will pull the winners tonight at the end of the forum. I know, wah wah, sorry. All right, so I have rules for the audience. Are you guys ready? Are you paying attention? All right, so tonight, just so that we can be as efficient as possible, and we can give our candidates the most amount of time to answer questions and to take questions from the audience, we're gonna ask that you all hold your applause until the end of the questions for each race. Okay, so you can tell them, good job, thanks for answering the questions, when they're all done. Okay, so no clapping, no applause in between the candidates, just so that we can keep things rolling. We want to keep the conversations in the audience, the talking, the whispering, any noises to a minimum, just so that we're not, making it so that our neighbors can't hear what's going on. We want everybody to be able to hear and see what's happening here at the forum. And if you ask an audience question, for the sake of time, okay, please get right to the question. And as always, please remain respectful to all of our candidates and our audience. I am so sorry. Is it safe to talk? Okay. Sorry about that. Anyways, please remain respectful to all of our candidates and your fellow audience members. If we slip up and you get a warning, no problem. Slip up twice, you ain't gotta go home, but you can't stay here. All right, cool. But I'm looking at this crowd, we're gonna be fine. All right, so our candidates, I'd like to introduce them to you real quick. For coroner, we have Clyde McDaniel. Clyde, where are you? Oh, hi. Clyde's in the back. Thank you for being here. Susie Brown. Thank you, Miss Susie Brown. For Sheriff Scott Chitwood, where are you? There you are. Thank you. And Mr. Darren Pierce. Thank you for being here. And for Georgia House District 6, Representative Jason Ridley is very sorry he couldn't be here. He did have some family stuff going on. But he should be at our Dalton State College event that's next week. I'll make sure I remind you about that at the end. Kathy Cott, that is Jason Ridley's opponent. She is here tonight. And then we also have, where's the general? General Sean Harris is here. He is running for District 14. We reached out to Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene's folks, and they weren't able to get somebody here tonight. Of course, all candidates are always welcome at all of our events. Okay, all right, and where is our moderator? Where's Joey? Here. Hey Joey, this is Joey Parrott. Much better than
Joey
me.
Parrott.
I would say that for sure. All right, he's gonna take over as moderator, but you're around doing some video, and thank you, Joey.
Hello.
first, what we're going to do to start with, since we have the two candidates who do not have their opposing people with them, we're going to let them have 5 minutes. So first of all, Sean Harris, if you would come forward, please. You will be timed.
No problem. Hey, how's everybody doing today? This is awesome. I must say thank you to the league, and I also want to say, look at yourself. This is amazing how many people turned out tonight. So please give your hand a clap. Give yourself a clap. Earlier, I was introduced. I'm Brigadier General retired Sean Harris. Did 40 years in the United States Army. My last assignment was Israel. In addition to that, the coolest thing you probably need to remember about me is that I actually started off in the United States Marine Corps, enlisted, Parris Island, and went all the way from private to general. So it's very few that can say they actually stood at the gate and told somebody else to stand at the gate, and everything in between. But on top of all that, I've been married for 36 years, got 5 sons, 4 grandkids, 2 girls, 2 boys. That's the most important thing in my life, because at the end of the day, it's all about family. In addition to that, I live down in Polk County, Rockmart, and I raise cattle for a living. Now, you ask yourself, why are you running for Congress, Sean? The answer is simple. And it comes down to a simple question. Because our current representative, like I mentioned to you, my last assignment was Israel. She was supposed to come to Israel. She made a statement that Israel had lasers. And based off that, she was going to be protest against in Israel. And they decided to tell her don't come. So she's the only person currently in Congress that I have actually never briefed on the top secret clearance side. And as you know right now, a lot of things are going on in the Middle East. Now, the question I want to ask you is simple. What has Marjorie Taylor Greene done for you? Nothing. You don't have to say it out loud. The reality of it is, the answer to that is nothing. And at the end of the day, all of us here in Northwest Georgia deserves a leader, deserves a representative that first is going to listen to you, 2, make themselves available to you, 3, make sure that what they actually working on is what you have told them to work on. That's it. If you know anything about me, you hear me every time I speak, I talk about leadership matters. Our country needs leadership. Now, yes, I'm running as a Democrat. For 40 years, I wore that uniform, and for 40 years, I never told anybody I was a Democrat, Independent, or Republican, ever. Because in the military, we don't play that game. Just this past year, I retired last summer after doing 40 years and starting a cattle farm. It was Republican veterans who came to me and asked me to run for Congress. The Democratic Party did not ask me to run for Congress. The Republican veterans asked me to run for Congress against Marjorie Taylor Greene in the primary. I said to them, guys, my mom would get out of her grave if I came out and said I was a Republican. That's just being truthful with you. But the reality of it is, I said, I'll get in. Now, the only thing I want to say to you is this. In order for me to win, I have to have Democrats, independents, and common sense Republicans. That's why I drove up here today. It's because if you're tracking me on social media, I was just in Dalton Sunday and Saturday. That's it, is that you are important. When I get off the floor, I'm going to stay all night. because I want to make sure that you have the opportunity to ask me any question you want. And when I win, I will ensure that we have 3 offices open in this district. One would be right here in Dalton, one would be in Rome, Georgia, and one would be down in Paulding County, to ensure that when you have issues, you don't have to be trying to call me or chase me or figure it out. You can just go right to the office. Because right here in Dalton, Georgia, if you look at Marjorie Taylor Greene's professional official website, it says that her office is right here in Dalton, Georgia. Know what it is? Check me. It is the post office. Think about that. Remember what I said? Stop.
Appreciate it. Trying to get a politician to quit talking. Who are y'all kidding? Okay, next we have Kathy Cott running for the House District number 6.
To try and stay on time. Bear with me one second. All right. So I was just thinking, seems like Sean read my speech, but my name is Kathy Cott. I live in the north end of Whitfield County, over in Cohutta. I've lived there for 30 years. I've raised my 2 kids there. They went to public schools. They're both adults who've attended some college and are doing really well. Professionally, I'm a registered nurse. I've been a nurse for 35 years. I work part-time now, and I take care of my mother. If you've seen me anywhere in town, you've probably seen my mom with me. Tonight, I'm here to apply for a job, the State House of Representative for District 6. This job opens up every 2 years, but it rarely has applicants. It turns out that a few men in our district decide who gets to have this job. They pass the baton to somebody's son, and there's rarely any challengers. Our current representative has been in office for 8 years, and he's not had to answer to us or listen to us on our concerns. He doesn't even consult with our city leaders many times. I've talked to many of the mayors in my district, and they feel like they don't get enough attention, just to say it nicely. So anyway, he feels like he doesn't have to show up to things like this or to anywhere in his community because he hasn't had an opponent. No one's going to question him, and that's how it has rolled for the last really 20 years in our district. 20 years, there hasn't been a Democrat to run on the ballot. Like Sean mentioned to you, I don't come up front always with the fact that I'm a Democrat, and my favorite motto for my campaign is community over party. That's because, just like Sean said, for the military, but for me, for my service as a nurse, there's not one time that I've ever asked anybody if they were a Democrat or Republican when they needed medical attention or any other kind of help that I might be able to give to them. So anyway, he has an opponent, and it's me. I've seen firsthand what our community challenges our community faces with lack of affordable insurance, lack of mental health services, and the need for fully funded education. Too many families in our area are crushed by medical debt while their representatives vote against expanding access. We are one of 10 states in the United States that has not accepted the expansion of Medicaid, and people in our communities and all over our state are suffering. Frankly, I think that it's shameful that we could help people, millions of people, with insurance and better access, and we refuse to do it. Our representatives refuse to do it. One thing that people talk to me about more than anything when they hear those top 3 things is the mental health access portion. Everyone in this room, I'll bet, has a story. I have more than one, of need for mental health access for myself, my family, or others in the community. It's a huge challenge, and we need help with it. There are efforts underway by many in our community and even at the state level to bring more access, to bring facilities, to bring professionals to our rural communities, but they're being blocked by the representation that we have in Atlanta. If we can bring people to North Georgia and all over the mountains and the rural areas here to build their factories, give them tax breaks, give them an advantage for shooting a movie, we can surely get some medical professionals, some mental health professionals, and those sort of things that actually serve the people. I understand business. I'm not against it, of course, but we have to have people who, we have to take care of our people. So the last part of my stance is the fully funding of education, and I think we could start by not taking tax dollars from our schools. So your current representative voted for the voucher program and also sends his children to private schools. So, private schools get to pick and choose who their students are. Public schools don't get to do that. They have to serve every student regardless. And I don't mind if we have a voucher program if private schools have to hold to the same standard as public schools. One last thing I'm going to throw out there is that I think it's very important, and I want to add that I trust women, I trust families, I trust doctors to make decisions for themselves, and not the men at the legislature in Atlanta. So back to the top, I'm applying for a job. I'm applying to be your representative. I want to represent you 365 days a year, and not just the 40 days that the thing is in session. So I want to be an accessible candidate, representative, and a leader. Thank you very much.